everyone, it's Rambling Hour with Lisa, Season 10, Episode 7. I have a dog beside me here, rubbing her nose against the couch. That's Lena, sticking her little... What are you doing, itchy snout? So, how is everyone? What are you up to? I have a little bit of a collection of houseplants here. Okay, this is the thing. I'm just going to zoom up a little bit and to show you what I have here. So why do I have all these houseplants here? Because I follow these people on Instagram and stuff like that, and they have all these houseplants. And okay, so hi Auntie Diane. So I can't remember exactly how. Do you know when you think of things that you're gonna say and then you like think of them perfectly, and then when you go to say them, they don't come out as smooth as they did in your head like an hour ago? Anyways, it had to do with the fact that like so many of us, especially when we're growing up and you see like successful people, you think that success means that you have to be the best of the best in any industry. And so like even when I started getting into photography, I became friends with more photographers online and everything, and then I would doubt myself and think, oh, there's no room for me in this industry because there's so many people who are already photographers and so many of them are so good that like I can never be like that. But the thing is, you don't have to be the best of the best. You just have to, there's room for all of us. That's how I started thinking about this, because it has to do with being happy with who we are and knowing that there's room for each individual. So you don't want to be somebody else. You want to be the best you can be. Because what I was thinking about and why I even made my little Bitmoji cartoon character just a little bit pudgier, because I literally have gained some weight on the scale. My jeans are getting tighter. And I can't. Anyways, it's getting to a point now that I got to do something about it. But what it was is that I just want to be the best version of me. I'm not going to put myself down, and I don't want to be like somebody else. I just liked who I was like last year or the year before, and I want to get back to that. So, but then it was about, so being in different industries. You don't have to be the best singer in the world. If all you do is sing at church on Sundays or down at the local pub on the weekends, and you're playing the guitar and singing and you're happy, then that's what it's about. It's about doing what you love and being happy. So in the same thing with that, when I look at Instagram and the especially for younger people, like young adults, and with COVID and lockdown and everything, the houseplant thing has become a big thing for a lot of young adults. So I'll see these people who are so good with their houseplants, and they have like this house, like a jungle and everything else. And I'm a little bit jealous, but then I think, I don't have time to love all my houseplants like that. I get so busy outside with those plants, and I'm not as good with the houseplants. But, Mel, you gotta be on time then. Usually I do wait. Melody says, may I offer a suggestion? Please wait about 1 minute before you start, so people can join and not miss what you are saying. Yeah, sometimes I try to do that at the beginning. I try to just babble about nothing while people join, but I have to keep talking because people who are watching this not live, but watching it later, it would be kind of boring if I was just sitting here like, just hang on guys, just waiting for people to start watching. But all I'm talking about is being the best version of you, and that it's the whole babbling thing. I think you could still pick up on what I'm saying. Oh, I didn't know you guys got it. Mel says, from when we get the notification. Do you guys get a notification that Lisa's gone live? Is that how it works? So, yes, I can try and do that. I'm not talking about anything like, okay, the houseplants. So, they have houses and stuff that look like jungles, and they have these huge specimens of these beautiful plants, and Melody said yes, that I am live. You do get a notification. So they have all these houseplants that look beautiful and gorgeous, and you just think like, okay, there's two things. One, they're really good with houseplants. They've had lots of experience. They have time to make them their babies like I do with my plants outside. Or two, they have lots of money so that when they kill a nice big huge houseplant, they can afford to go and replace it. Because houseplants, especially big specimens, can either take a long time to grow, like years. And as you know, I've only been in the UK for 8.5 years. Yeah? No. Wait. hang on, I have to, so, yeah, so me and Steve, so that'll be 10 years, so it's almost 9 years that we've been dating, so then that'll be 9 years that I've lived here, so it's just over 8 years, yeah, like almost 8.5 years that I've lived here. Anyways, my point is that so even if I did have a houseplant, it couldn't be older than that unless I got it from somebody. But I've killed so many houseplants, just like I've killed lots of plants in the garden, but I keep trying. So even this one here is doing really well. It's got nice, healthy, green, new leaves coming and everything else, but the ones from when I first got it, they're a bit dry and crackly, and then it's a bit naked down here because of the old leaves. So I am trying, and I am getting better, but it's an expensive hobby if you keep killing your plants. This one over here is huge, and this is a new one that I just got on the buy and sell in the marketplace. I love the pot that I put it into, and it's like almost as tall as me, and I got it for 20 pounds. So I'm happy about that one, but it's a process. There's some behind me that are looking good, but I just got to keep trying. There, the light was better a second ago. So, anyways, the thing is, I don't have to be the best gardener in the world. I don't have to be the best houseplant mommy in the world. I just need to try my best and give them what they love. And today Anne said, I killed my shamrock plant, overwatered it, sad. Yes, you told me that, but I told you that Mom has lots of that. I have it, I have mine right here. This is the size of mine. But it's nighttime now, so the little shamrock things are closed. It's called an oxalis, and it gets little pink flowers as well. And but Mom's specimens can be huge. And I know you said you overwatered it, but this one like it does dry out a lot. But then I put quite a bit of water in it when it needs it. But it's these little like baubles, and they're like kind of like bulbs, but just little baubles. So. But yeah, I mean, it could be better, but what my problem is not that I overwater it, it's that I let it dry out too much. So it sits in the kitchen right on the windowsill. That's the other thing. And so it depends on the size of your place. So if I collect all my houseplants like this, hang on. If I collect some of my houseplants like this, then it's like, oh, wait a second, I do have quite a few houseplants that are doing all right. And these aren't even, my best ones are up in the bathroom upstairs. So I guess it depends. Like if I was in a small apartment, then this would be a jungle on its own just with the amount of houseplants I have. But because our house is a good size, these are like a few specimens per room. And I try to group them together because it increases the humidity. But the purple one that I was just holding, Melody asks, what is the purple one called? This one here is oxalis, Oxalis. Some people call it a shamrock, but it actually isn't a true shamrock. So, but yes, it's called oxalis. Melody said, Mom just gave me one. Yeah, so, I mean, obviously Auntie Diane drowned it, but they're pretty easy plants. Actually, what I'm excited about right now is all the ones upstairs in the bathroom, and then some of the ones in the kitchen, even him, I have put little fertilizer sticks in. So that's something that I haven't done, is because what happens with me this goes with the outside too, so you got to be tough to live in my world, is that I will either give you too much love or I won't love you at all, and then you get neglected. So it's a balance between that, but also like fertilizing the houseplant. So now it's a little bit early still, but I guess because we're getting more sunlight, so usually people start in April, but April to September, you want to fertilize houseplants. Only you do like half of the whatever you would give outside plants, you do half of that for the inside plants, like diluted, like the strength of it. So and you could probably get house plant fertilizer specifically, but you can just use all general purpose, and it'll say on it what to use. But I had these sticks that I wanted to use up, and the reason I'm using sticks is because so many of them. Oh yes, sorry. And Diane says they are purple or green. So this one here is purple, and I have one in the kitchen too. It doesn't seem to do as well in the house, but it does great outside here. And it's called not the Iron Cross, something cross, and it's green, but it has so maybe if somebody comes by, I'll get them to grab it for me. I only have a few leaves on it right now. So okay, so what was I saying? Okay, so the reason I'm using sticks to fertilize is because because I'm still trying to do well with my houseplants, and I don't want to overwater things, which is what kills most houseplants for most people, or I don't want to underwater things. I figured that the sticks would be, or you can get pellets or whatever. I figured those would be better, so that when I do water them, they'll take some of the fertilizer from that. Because if I do a water soluble fertilizer, then I'm going to want to like pour water into the plant to get the fertilizer in there, and it might be too much water for it at one sitting. Some of my plants, if you give them a shower and you do run water through them, just let it drain. Like, so if I take, which one can I take out? Okay, well, let's take this one because I wanted to show you the pot. Anyways, I painted this. Let's see if it has a year on it. No, it doesn't, but it was when I was still in Canada, so before 2014. I painted this little spring pot with a bird's nest. And anyways, this is like a type of succulent, and it actually does need a tad of water. Again, it's just coming out of its dormant season, so it doesn't need much water over the winter. But you can see, I don't know if you can see or not, but they're just getting a little bit wrinkly, just a little bit wrinkly, which means that they could use a little bit of moisture. So there's two ways I can water this. One is put like a tiny little bit of water, like literally, like what if a cup fit into my hand like that much water, just like a little bit of water to just rejuvenate it. Or if I did want to give it a shower to get the dust off of it and everything else, any plant that you're watering, whether it likes moisture or it likes it dry, because again, that's going to depend on what kind of soil it's in too. If it's a succulent or cactus, you're going to have it in gritty, sandy, rocky soil that doesn't hold a lot of moisture anyways. So I put this in the shower, rinse it all off, let the water drain in, and then leave it sit there, even lifting it on something, so the water can drain out for at least like 20 minutes, half an hour, so that the only moisture left in it is whatever the growing medium, whether it's sand, rock, soil, depending on your plant, that's holding the moisture. So you don't want any extra moisture. And definitely if you look in your pots, and well, this one has a hole in it, but if you look in your pots that don't have holes in and there's water sitting in the bottom, that could rot your plants as well. So you don't want any sitting water in your plants after you put them back in. The other thing I'm going to try and do, besides if I need to shower them, is even if I'm going to water them like that and leave them sit in the tub for half an hour, I am going to start trying to use rainwater, because I live in England and there's a lot of rain. So I am going to try and water my plants with rainwater, because if you use distilled water or rainwater, then they like it a lot better. And if you don't, then have like a little small barrel or something in your house for water, and when you fill it up, let the water sit for at least 2 days before you use it for your houseplants. Two things: you want you want the water to be like room temperature, so that it doesn't shock. You don't want it to be too hot or too cold for the plant, because it'll shock it. And you don't want it, like the chemicals, lots of the chemicals that are in the water aren't good for them. So, and also, you know how I said about running the water through it, like with a shower or rainwater, whatever, you need to do that with your houseplants sometimes too, because if you just keep watering your plant over and over, it holds on to like a lot of the salts and toxins and stuff like that. So it is good to take your plant into the shower and let water run all the way through to get all the bad stuff out. So I just want to read Melody's comment. Sorry. Melody says, beautiful painted pot. Thank you. And root rot. Yes, exactly. So sometimes you don't know. The other thing is, I have vine weevils too, so I got to check on my plants. But I don't know if you guys have vine weevils in Canada. I don't remember from when I was there, but sometimes, hi Diana. Sometimes the vine weevils will sneak in the house when I bring plants back into the house for winter and stuff like that. These little beetles, I try not to hate anything in nature, but the problem is that they even on my outside plants, they'll lay their larvae in there, and the larvae will eat the roots of the plant. So your plant will start looking limpy and droopy, and yet you know you've given it water, so you don't know what's going on. This is the way I test it outside. Again, here, I'll grab this one. So if this was outside, or even in the house, if I start to think something's up because, sorry, dead leaf, like to take all my dead leaves off and make it look nice. So if I thought something was up with this plant, it was starting to look like it needed water, but I already know I watered it and I don't want to overwater it, I just try to yank on it a little bit, especially outside. If I pull on it and it starts coming loose, because like I said, the vine weevil grubs will eat the roots, so the plant will just pull right out. And a lot of times if you can find them at that point when your plant is still okay, but it's just droopy, but still okay, you can repot it, get all the grubs off. So the grubs look like little C's, like the letter C. They're white like a little C, and they have brown heads. They're so annoying because they can kill your plant. So lots of times when it looks like something's wrong, I'll just tug on it a little bit and I'll know like if it's a bit loose, or if it's still tight in there, it means that it's got good roots. Diana says, great tip. And Auntie Diane says, good info, thanks. So again, you have to look up in Canada if you have vine weevils. You might, but they're a nuisance. The only way to get rid of them really is I have to have this, I think I've told you guys this before. So I have to mix up this batch of brown nematodes. Those are like microscopic organisms. I have to mix up this batch of stuff. And then, okay, so I mix up a nice batch of it. I have to keep it stirred so that they are floating in it and they don't settle to the bottom. Then I take a scoop of it or whatever, put it into my watering can, fill that watering can up so that it's like diluted, but they're still in there, making sure that they don't settle to the bottom. Then go and water plants, but you want the water and the nematodes to stay in the plant, so you don't want the water to run through. Now I'm talking outside, right, where my plants have holes in the bottom because you know, normally the water will run through. So you want to put enough in there that there's nematodes in there to eat the grubs, but not enough water that it runs out the bottom, because two things. One, if your nematodes go all the way out the bottom, then they're not going to do their job. And two, it's just a waste of money because they're really expensive. So you'll just lose them. So it's like this delicate balance again of like adding enough water. Plus then you got to keep it moist for 2 weeks so that it gives them time to work. And actually they do work brilliantly. I have definitely cut down my numbers of vine weevils in the garden. So I am doing that, especially I think it's in a spring and autumn type thing that you do it. But it's one of the hardest things that I have to do because of like, it's expensive and it's a lot of work. But I guess in the long run, saying it's expensive, the amount for the nematodes compared to the amount of plants that they could destroy. And they really, really love heucheras, which you guys, what's the common name for heucheras in Canada? Coral bells? Is that what I think that I used to know all the common names because in Canada we tend to use the common names for plants, and here they use the scientific names. So, Auntie Diane says, how often do you fertilize your indoor plants? Well, this is the thing. For me, never. But what you're supposed to do is in the growing season, so April to September, when they're out of dormancy and we're getting more light, even if they're ones that like it in a bit of the shady area of the room, then you do that every 2 to 3 weeks. And like I said, look at the packaging of your fertilizer because it'll tell you what the dilution is, because like I said, for indoor plants, you're going to use a lower strength than you would for your outdoor plants. So yeah, they say every 2 to 3 weeks, but I mean, they say that for outdoor plants in the summertime too, which is great if you have the time. But even fertilizing your house plants like once or twice in the whole growing season will be more than not doing it at all. So, and again, it depends. Like if you just repotted it into fresh soil or like a bigger pot and it has that fresh soil, it's going to get some nutrients from that too. So did I finish saying what I was saying about the spikes? That the reason is that instead of using like a liquid fertilizer where I dump it, it's the same thing. I don't want it all to drain out the bottom and just waste it, but I also don't want it to sit in too wet of soil. So if I use the sticks, the spikes, or like I said, you can get the balls, the slow release fertilizer. You can get them for outside, but you can use them for houseplants too. Then every time I do water it in the whole season, because it's slow release, so Auntie Diane, this is the same thing. So if you have a plant that likes to be watered every second day, then as you're putting the water in there, the slow release fertilizer things are like slowly breaking down and it's getting fertilizer every time it gets watered. So if you have a plant that only likes water, but even cacti will want water more during the summer than in the winter, still not lots. The best thing with cacti and succulents is to neglect them. Like even some that I've small ones need less water, so big ones need more water, but even the big ones, yeah, I neglect them quite a bit. And so they tend to not need a lot of water to survive. So, and I'm not even, sometimes some of them don't actually want to be fertilized, like some of the, I think, cacti and succulents, things that grow in soil that would be very depleted of nutrients anyways, won't benefit well from having fertilizer because they'll be over, like, too much of a good thing. So, boy, can I ramble about plants. But yeah, so I'm trying to get better with my houseplants, and I'm not beating myself up about not being the best with them, because I don't need to be the best with them. I just need to keep trying, and I will get there. And the thing is, like I said, if I lived in an apartment or a place that I didn't have a garden outside and everything else, then I probably would be a houseplant queen. But I have so much of my the gardening season that I spend outside, that in the growing season and when my houseplants need more watering and everything else, I tend to be outside and I neglect them. So Antonia says, I'm going to try the spikes. Do you have any lilacs outside? They smell so nice. Mine keeps coming back year after year, but not growing very big. So lilacs, I do have one outside, and it does smell good. There is some around, and I know where they are, and I've tried to take cuttings from them, and I've done good with the cuttings, and then I've neglected them, and they've dried out. So so I do want to get the whole colors in my collection, because lilacs remind me of Canada, because it is one of the flowering bushes, that, like shrubs, that we have there that will just gorgeous, smell nice and everything else. Here, there's so many other options that they're not as prolific here, but people still do have them, and the smell is one of my favorite smells in the world. So, well, obvious, yes, any flowering plant, I mean, most plants will enjoy fertilizer. Like I said, you just got to think about their natural environments. So I guess it's hard to think of a lilac's natural environment, but a lilac will definitely, and Diane said maybe fertilizer for them will help. Absolutely, because any flowering plant will want more nutrients to help it flower. So like I said, there is one specific, like tomato fertilizer, that is good for plants that are that want to flower. So you can use tomato fertilizer, or you can just use an all-purpose fertilizer to get flowers. But definitely, and there was something my dad learned about the lilacs years ago, and now I know this more as a gardener, is that when you, if you're, what's the word I'm looking for? Not trimming. What? Somebody help me out. My brain's just not working. What's it called when you, like, when you're cutting the bush and making it like into a nice shape, or it's not trimming, but anyways, when you're doing that. Yeah, pruning. Thank you, Melody. I don't know why my brain just wasn't. When you're pruning a lilac, you want to be very careful. And actually, this goes for quite a few plants. Like my cherry trees, I can't really, unless it's like dead wood or something, the best time to prune cherry trees is in the winter, because they're dormant. And then, because if I prune my cherry trees now, because it's warmer, there's more likely to get infected and stuff with stuff while the sap is going through their branches and stuff. So, whereas roses you can prune anytime. And yeah, so with lilacs and some flowers, so basically the rule is to prune a flowering plant after, or a flowering shrub or bush right after it flowers, because the next thing it's going to do after it flowers is make the buds for next year. So I remember the lilac in our garden didn't have a lot of blooms on, and then my dad learned that it's because he was pruning at the wrong time. So after your lilac flowers and they turn brown, then you want to cut off the flowers, or prune it however you want. But don't take too much off. But also remember that it's going to start making its flower buds for the next year right away after it's done flowering. So the other thing about taking all the flowers off after they flower is that flowers after they flower are creating seed. So that's taking energy from the plant to make seed. Whereas if you cut all those off before they make seed, that energy is going back into the plant, and it'll go back into the buds for next year for plants, for flowers. So and again, with the size of your lilac, definitely fertilizer will make it grow bigger quicker than it would if you didn't fertilize it. But I wouldn't worry about the size of your lilac. I would more worry about how many blooms are you getting. But like I said, fertilizer will will work for both those things, how many blooms you're getting in the size and the health of it, but also it will, you just need to make sure you're pruning at the right time. So, and they actually have, and I'm not sure again if this is in Canada yet or not, but they do have reflowering lilacs now, like where they'll flower more than once. But I think you still need to prune off the dead, like you have to prune off the first flowers after they flower for it to bloom again. So that's cool. But yeah, I'd like to get more lilacs. I think that its scientific name is called privet, like Privet, if I'm not mistaken. And I do have another one that's white, that's doesn't smell as good, but it's in the same family and it grows a lot easier, and people use it as like a lot more here. The white privet, they use it for hedging and stuff like that. I think that's the same one, if I'm getting my information correct in my head. Oh, something else I was going to tell you guys about houseplants, because I was reading my 1977 copy of what was it called? The Encyclopedia of Gardening, the American Encyclopedia of Gardening. Anyways, it's from 1977. It was, there was this thing that you can do with, because this is my thing with houseplants too, is it getting enough light? Is it getting too much light? Because all the plants like different light amounts. Like obviously cacti and succulents like it really, really bright. That's why they do good in my greenhouse or outside in the summertime in the direct sun. I think I was saying that before. No, I was going to tell you guys that about bringing houseplants outside. Let me have a drink and then I'll tell you. So, that's nice and cold. So you can get a light meter, which is actually like a gadget that you can actually detect how much light in how many candles, that's what they're called, you know, how many candles of light you're getting in which area. And then you can look up what that houseplant likes. If it likes it in a shadier corner, if it likes it in filtered light, which means that the sunlight and stuff is coming through like sheer curtains or something like that, or if it likes bright light and it wants to be on the south facing window. So you can do that. But the 1977 book it also said you could take a sheet of white paper and place it where you're thinking of putting your houseplant and use your hand to see how strong your shadow is when the sun is shining in that corner, or like the light is coming in, and see. So obviously the darker the shadow on the white piece of paper, the more light that area is getting. So that was a cool thing that was in that book. And but I was thinking of looking into getting a light meter if they're not too expensive. I haven't looked them up yet, so I don't know how expensive they are. Melody says, unfortunately I have no south facing windows, but that's okay, because a lot of houseplants like low light. Something that would like south facing windows are things that you would grow in very tropically, like not a jungle. Like lots of houseplants are jungle plants where they're like not the canopy, but what's the lower level ones, right? So they are used to growing with less light. That's why they do good as houseplants. But things that you would want in a south-facing window are peppers. You can grow peppers, or like I said, succulents and cacti and everything else. But my cactuses do just as well over in that window. And that is, my house is on a different angle. It's not like facing one direction. Excuse me, west is like where our driveway is, so east is that way. So that's south and that's north. So I guess that would kind of be a north-facing window. And my cacti do fine there. They're still getting enough light. They probably do better in it. Like Thomas, the south-facing, are all the kids' rooms. And Thomas has cacti in his, and succulents in his window. And they love it up there. So again, neglect and the sunlight. So you're okay not having south-facing windows. You just have to figure out what, again, how much light is coming in. So that's the thing, is some of them don't need much light at all, and they're fine in like the furthest corner away from the window. And this is what I'm trying to learn too, which ones want more light and which ones. If you find a houseplant and you put it in a spot and it is doing really well there, then leave it there. It means not just existing, but if it's thriving, if it's healthy and it's getting new leaves and everything else, then it likes that spot. So that's kind of the key, is finding which plants like which spots. But there was something else I was going to tell you guys about when I said, okay, so the plants, the lighting, the, oh, winter. Okay, so, no, summer, actually. So, just like how bringing plants in for the winter, if they can't handle the frost, there's people who say that your houseplants will enjoy a holiday outside for the summertime. The thing is that it is so much work to actually bring your plants outside, not just for a day or something like that, but if you want your plants to go outside for the whole summer, then you have to acclimatize them. I'll just turn you guys right now, because Steve said, he actually sent me a picture of the living room and said, when is this bloody greenhouse getting here? Because I was just collecting all the plants that I was overwintering and bringing them closer to the patio doors because I have to acclimatize them to go outside. So this is the same thing you'd have to do with houseplants. So all these plants over here, the bananas and everything else, they're in the way for him to see the TV, right? So I have to acclimatize those to go back outside into their spots, which is usually easier when they're in the greenhouse. But now, so I have to take all those plants, and they're heavy, some of them, and bring them outside during the day, and then bring them in for nighttime, slowly increasing how long they're outside and getting used to the weather and everything, and then bringing them back inside. And I have to do this for at least 8 to 10 days, if not 15 days. So what I found when I was taking my houseplants outside for the summer, besides the cacti and the succulents, which I think really loved being in the direct sun for the summer, and the rain, they didn't even mind the rainwater going through them because they have good drainage, whereas if I watered them that much in here, they would die because there wasn't enough evaporation and sun to get rid of. Anyways, my cacti and succulents thrive and love it outside for the summer. And they don't even need as much acclimatization because it's warmer outside than it is in here. However, you don't want to shock a plant. You don't want to change it from one climate to another climate just like that. So I find that with the work of taking my houseplants out, acclimatizing them to outside for, like 10 days, and then putting them outside for the summer, then having to acclimatize them back in the fall, it's so much work, and I don't know, my plants just, they seem like, and then you bring bugs in, and they didn't seem like, maybe they were really happy outside, but then coming in here, it was just like they didn't seem to do their best. And now I'm thinking, if I find a happy place for a plant, if it's looking good and doing well and happy in that corner of the room in the wintertime, then why wouldn't it be even happier when the light is brighter and everything else in the summertime, as long as I remember to water the houseplants and not be outside the whole time. So I'm just leaving my houseplants in the house and letting them enjoy their rooms, but still trying to give them what they need. So I am going to read pruning, unfortunately. Auntie Diane says, I have a money tree. It's very fussy. Leaves are dropping off. It's finicky. Well, the thing about a money tree, that's like a jade plant, is even when they're healthy, the leaves will fall off. They're like the really fat, thick, succulent leaves, and they'll fall off even just getting bumped and everything else, and that's how they can keep growing. My father-in-law, Steve's dad, told me that it's bad luck not to plant any piece that falls off of it, and I was like, at first I was like, oh no, just being like, maybe there's something to that, I better plant these. But the amount that they fall off, I'm like, no way, first of all, I don't want all these baby plants. Secondly, I can't keep up with it. Even, like I said, even a healthy plant will drop its leaves if it's bumped and everything. But they are very fussy. They don't want a lot of water. Even a big specimen. I actually killed my huge, beautiful one that I got on buy and sell. I had it good for a couple of years. And then what happens, you think, oh, it looks like a little bit wrinkly, so I'll give it a little bit of water. But I just ended up over-watering it. And what happened was there was this thing on the bottom. Even if I had given it that much water, but the water was able to drain out, because the pot was like this big, and the plant was huge. So it was really top heavy, but it likes being like in a, root bound. But I ended up overwatering it and killing it. But I do have, where is the other ones? I do have a couple. Oh, there's one in the office, and it's happy in that window, and again, that's south facing. And I neglect those plants in there. One's a spider plant, one's a jade plant, and the other one is I don't know how to say it, I'll just show you. I can see it in my head. It starts with a K. It's this flowering one that you get in like little houseplant gardening. Like, you know when you'll get a thing from a friend for Get Well or whatever, and it has like a little parlor palm and one of these I don't remember how to say it. But yeah, so it's a succulent. These leaves, again, you can start a new plant just with one of these leaves or breaking off the top and everything else. But there's one of these in the garden. And it actually this one likes more moisture than most succulents do. But there's one of these in the office, there's a jade plant, and there's a spider plant. All three are good neglectful plants. Like I know when the spider plant, when its leaves look pale and it's getting droopy, that's when I know it needs water, and that's when I water the other two. But again, I will give the spider plant and the, whatever this one's called, more water than I will give the jade plant. So, yes, Melody says, I heard leaf drop is due to overwatering sometimes. Yes, that is true. But what I'm saying with the jade plant is that, specifically, is that even the healthiest specimen is it drops not its branches, but like lots of the little pieces will fall off because it wants to reproduce. That's how it, and lots of succulents, if you start seeing aerial roots growing, that means you might not be watering it as often. Like, again, with succulents and cacti, you can, if you water more often, just give it a little, like a thimble, like a small cacti, just give it a thimble of water, like just to touch the roots, right? But the other thing is when it gets aerial roots, those roots will take moisture out of the air. So it's getting more moisture than you think it is. It's just taking it out of the air, especially if you live somewhere humid like this. But this is the thing, every plant in the garden as well. So there's a difference between lots of people in the garden. They garden in the way that they'll just take a plant, put it in a spot and let it be. But there's a difference between a plant living and thriving. Is it just living? Or is it loving its life? Is it doing its best? Is it performing the way it's supposed to? Every plant likes different things. So is it in the right plant for the right place? So even in the driest or shadiest or wettest conditions, there is a plant that will love that. It's about finding the right plant for the right place. And then so it's tough because every single plant likes different things. And this is where it's like so much information and everything else. And it is even all the stuff in the garden. I learn by reading. I call it studying. Even if I'm looking at magazines or these old books that I got from Value Village, which is a thrift store in Canada. I'm studying, and I could be reading the same book over and over or referencing it, and I'm just learning new things. So, even like that paper thing. I mean, I've read that before, but I totally forgot about it, about using a white piece of paper to see how your shadow is, to show how much light goes into that corner and stuff like that. So, I mean, this corner behind the couch where that ladder is, I used to have houseplants there that loved it, and now I don't have anything for them to stand on. But then sometimes I think like, oh, they all need to be near the window. They need to get light. This back corner, how is it going to get any light? No plant's going to live there. Yet somehow they do get enough light, so they don't all have to be next to the window. The other thing about here is that a lot of times where our windows are is where our radiators are, like right under the window. So now we've got the windows replaced, so there won't be any cold drafts coming out of the windows unless you open them. But if your windows aren't brand new, then they could have cold drafts coming in the window, and then for us, the radiator right there, that's hot, and it could be a very not good environment for plants to have those either extreme. So that's another reason that I might not want to have my plants right next to the window if there's a radiator there, because it doesn't need the warm air from the radiator. So wow, I have rambled, and now I'm just gonna have another drink because I can't think of what to say at the moment. Oh, 9 sleeps until the greenhouse gets here. 9 sleeps. So it's on a Tuesday it's getting installed. So that's like 2 sleeps, it'll be a week. So I am like, I cannot tell you how excited I am for the greenhouse for so many reasons. To get the garden back in order, to get these plants out of the house and make the house look nicer, and to start seedlings, and because it's an awesome big greenhouse and I'm just really excited. Like, there's so many reasons that I'm excited. But this last week, I've been just trying to get stuff done in the house again. Like, I like to reorganize things and try to find better systems for them. So yesterday, I went and bought a few containers for the bathroom downstairs, and I was reorganizing stuff in the closet in there. And I just said to Steve that I'm just trying to get stuff done in the house because I know as soon as the greenhouse gets here or the nicer weather gets here. Because even though it's spring and usually I'm like out in March and stuff out in the garden, it's been quite rainy and gross, and plus like I'm just waiting for the greenhouse because I'm still frustrated with how everything's just in disarray. So but yeah, the weather hasn't been very nice either, and I think it's either last night or maybe overnight tonight it's like -2, and then hopefully that'll be our last, or these like days are our last like below 0 days, hopefully, because it's almost April already, and I want to like not just acclimatize these bad boys to go outside, like my bananas and stuff, but I want them to stay outside. I don't want to be dragging them in for freezing nights, like whether it's into the greenhouse or whatever. If I acclimatize, some of them will need, some of them, like I purposely bought some of my plants to, because what happens is I'll use the greenhouse for lots of seedlings and overwintering plants and everything else, but then in the summertime when it's hot in there, there might not be anything in there. And I thought, like, well, I want to have some plants that just thrive in the greenhouse all year. And those ones are the ones that are very tropical. So you're, which you guys in North America will have as house plants. But you can also have them in, if you have, again, those books that I was referencing from 1977, they are Canadian and American Horticultural Society, like, you know, the sets that you could buy, Time Life or whatever, like the different ones where you get a whole series, like one's on greenhouses, one's on indoor houseplants, one's on bulbs, whatever. Those are the ones I was referencing. And I was looking at these greenhouses in Canada, like with the snow outside, and I'm like, who is this aimed at? Because as much as even in Canada, I would love to have like a nice warm greenhouse in the winter time to have all these beautiful plants. Do you know how much that would cost to heat? I mean, unless now there's like more options with like solar panels and stuff like that. And the good thing in Canada is that we get a lot of winter sun. So actually that's a good point. You could actually, in Canada, even in the winter, because we get so much winter sun, if you can afford the solar panels, then you would be able to heat a greenhouse with the sun and it could work. But anyways, I was just saying, like, even here, I only keep the temperature in the greenhouse above freezing on nights that it's freezing, because it would be too expensive to keep a greenhouse heated the whole time. But my point was that in my greenhouse, that's why I bought I have the, also in a lots of people here in their houses, they have conservatories, which is sort of like a greenhouse, but it's attached to the house. It's like a glass room or an orangery. So that's where you would have like your orange trees and lime trees and all those things. So my kumquat, my limequat, and my lime tree, those I want to leave in the greenhouse and keep them in there all summer long, even though they can grow outside in the summer here. And my bougainvillea vine, which I had as a houseplant in Canada, and I have a mandevilla vine, and that I want to leave in the greenhouse as well. So again, those can be houseplants in Canada as well, but yeah, so lots of those I want to stay in the greenhouse all year. Again, just like a south-facing window, peppers, like chili peppers and bell peppers and all those things, they love it hot. So they can stay in tomatoes. They grow tomatoes in hot houses, what they call hot houses here. So your greenhouse can be used to grow tomatoes because they can like it hot too. Although I find tomatoes they will grow anywhere, anytime. But oh, I think I missed some comments. Auntie Diane said, haha, that's a good workout. Yeah, it is, taking my plants in and out. But Auntie Diane says, I drag my plants around too, trying to find the right spot. Yeah, and that's all we can do. Melody says, I killed my poinsettia by overwatering. It got leaf drop and lost all its leaves. Poinsettias are very difficult plants to keep alive from one year to the next. The thing about poinsettias is you got to remember that they're from Mexico. So they like it hot and sunny and dry. They are actually can grow into bushes and trees in Mexico. So, but they are, it's not just you, it is very hard to keep I try every year too to keep my poinsettia alive. Just alive. I don't even care if the leaves are green all year and I don't get red leaves again next year. I just want to see if I can keep it alive, but no luck with me either. Mel says I never got it back. Yeah, that's the word, but I still can't say it. Calencho. See, I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's this one here. Calencho, whatever. I know what it is. I just can't say it. And Melody said I can't spell it right. And Etchan says, oh, I have one of those. Mine has red flowers too. Yeah, you can get them with all the different, like red, orange, yellow, pink. Mine has red flowers too. Air roots means it wants water. Not too much water. And it depends on what type of plant it is. But sometimes if you're getting a lot of air roots, it means it's not getting enough water from its main root. So it's creating air roots to get moisture from the air. But you don't want to overwater it. So as long as it looks healthy, even if it has air roots, you can increase your watering just by a smidge. And those air roots might just shrivel up and go away, but don't push it. And Dan says, our huge jade plant, the soil is getting rock hard on top. Do you aerate your plants? We repotted it last year, so it has good soil under the hard soil. I don't want to kill it because it's old. 20 years or so. Maybe fertilizer will help. Again, I would look up stuff for a jade plant. Because it's a succulent, I'm not sure that it wants fertilizer. Or there might be a specific fertilizer for cacti and succulents that you want to use. I wouldn't worry about it being hard on top because you could aerate, you could break it up a little bit with a fork or something like that. But as long as the water is getting in when you water it. But if it's over 20 years old, you're obviously doing something right. So don't sweat it. Like just, keep doing what you're doing. If it looks happy and it's healthy, then, don't worry about it. And again, the jade plant will like it root bound. So if you repotted it last year, then it'll be good in there for years, even if the soil on top gets hard. The thing you could do is you could put some grit or like small rocks on top just to make it so you don't see the hard dirt. So it looks nicer just as a mulch. And yeah, but when you did repot it, like even if you were to, just as long as it's like a gritty good drainage kind of soil, but it seems like you're, that is happy if it's over 20 years old. Etienne says, how are your mushrooms and herbs doing? Okay. So, my mushrooms, I keep checking on them and adding water and there's just nothing happening yet. So nothing there, but I mean, those kits were very old, so we'll see. My herbs, I had to I reseeded them and then put like cling film, what do we call, like saran wrap over them to try and make it like a little greenhouse. My chives have started coming up and I think it's thyme that I have tiny little seedlings in the thyme. So we'll see if that works. I have my parsley hasn't come up yet. And what were the other ones? Basil hasn't come up yet, but I do keep checking. So I have chives. But again, the seeds are really old, but I used all the leftover seeds. And my microgreens worked, but I never ended up picking them and eating them. They're still in the bag, kind of like some of them are dying, but I'll try that again and actually eat them next time. But my mushrooms, nothing seems to be happening yet, but I'm still not giving up on them. I put them there. I check on them. I keep them moist, and we'll see. They're in a dark cupboard. So, yes. So that was the last question. Melody says, you can use cut water bottles as a miniature greenhouse for seedlings. Yeah, you can. I mean, you can cut the water bottle in half, and then you have the bottom to plant in, and the top that you put it on to cover. And then it's good with the lid. You have the lid that you can keep on if you want the moisture to stay in, or you can take the lid off for oxygen to get in. So that's a very good tip, Melody. If you buy rotisserie chicken, the container makes a great greenhouse for starting seeds. Yes, that's true. What is the other ones that... There's something else that I... Like, well, even if it's like an egg carton, like a plastic clear egg carton, Or there is other ones like that too, where it has the plastic lid, or even like yogurt containers if they have a clear lid. Lots of those things will be good. I find that Melody says pop bottles. I find that I use our mushrooms come in like plastic, brown plastic. You can get loose mushrooms or you put them in a bag as well, but they come in these brown plastic like containers, and I use those a lot to start seedlings and stuff like that. Melody says strawberry packaging. Yeah, I think our strawberries usually come with like a clear film that you pull off, and then it's just the tray. But it's good if it's like taller and you have room to put the growing medium, your seeds, and then with whatever the lid is, or the saran wrap cling film, that there's room for it to grow. But remember that a lot of seedlings, you can put that over to make the greenhouse effect, but once the seedlings come up, you want to like let more air get into that, because you don't want them to damp off, like get fungal, like the fungal, like damp, like you don't want them to get too moist and rot. So once your seedlings start to come up, you want to uncover them and let more air get to them. I'm just gonna check what our time is at. So we have about 10 minutes left. Auntie Diane says our strawberries come in a clamshell package with holes. So yeah, actually, I mean, I know what you're talking about. The ones that like, they have like clips on the corners. Some of ours do come like that too, where you can reclose it and you like push those button things on the corners to hold it. So those are perfect for greenhouses too. And you can use a popsicle stick or a pencil or something to prop it open so that it still will hold in some of the moisture, but like depending on the size of your stick or your pencil or whatever will be how open or closed it is to let the air in or out. That's the same concept with what I have two outside. They're called cold frames. And they are kind of on an angle to let the rain go, but I can open the tops and let more or less air flow into them, which I'm not really using those right now either for anything specific. But yes, I do want to start my seedlings. I did buy some because like I said, my perlite and my vermiculite, because you can get like seed starting. So basically what you would start your seedlings in, you could use like coconut fiber, because you can't get peat moss really anymore, and even if you can get it, it's not good for the environment because it wrecks the peat bogs and it's just not a good thing. So, but you can use coconut fiber, which is like, you can buy it in hard blocks, and then when you put it in like a bucket and then fill it with water, it'll expand. Those little discs that are flat, like when I did the herbs and stuff where you put water in and they expand. Or if you want to mix up your own seed starting stuff, you just mix up some potting soil with perlite. That's the little white balls that like seem like they're like styrofoamy, and they don't hold any moisture, but you mix it in and they'll hold air, so to give it more air for your seedlings to start. So usually I mix my own seed starting compost and then do my little cells and fill it up and then put my seeds in and everything. But I have a huge bag, like a big tin. It's like a tin rubbish bin. It's actually an incinerator for burning stuff, but it's the same size as a tin rubbish bin. I have one with my vermiculite and my perlite in. Vermiculite is the stuff that is, I think it's like from volcanoes or something. It looks like gold, but it again is like a bit spongy when you push on it, but it looks like little pieces of like gold stuff. That will aerate your soil, but that does hold moisture, whereas the perlite, the little white balls, you'll see when you get house plants and you get those little white balls in it, that's perlite. So it opens up the soil, but it doesn't hold any moisture. Anyways, what I'm saying is all that stuff is it's under a tarp in my raised bed. I can't really get to it very well, so I can't make my own seedling starting stuff. So I bought some of those discs, and I had the stuff over there because I was going to start my sweet corn and stuff. But I haven't done that yet. But I have got a lot done this week. But I can't do it everything. But like I said, I have watered and fertilized and taken care of the plants upstairs in the bathroom. I'm working today. I've been working on the ones in the kitchen, just giving them love and putting my fertilizer sticks in them. And so I'm moving around and doing well. Yes. So, okay, hang on. I'm going to read. I missed something here. Auntie Diane says, sorry, hogging your whole rambling hour about plants. Listen, if people want to know about plants, you guys are the ones that are here and you want to know about plants, and that's what we'll talk about because I love it. Melody says, my avocado plant is doing good, but only has one stalk. I don't know how to encourage it to produce a branch. I'll tell you that in a second. And Auntie Diane says, that's cool. I should try avocado plants. I just learned you can freeze avocado. Oh, that's cool. I guess I probably knew that, but the avocado doesn't last once it's, like, they eat them too quickly in this house for them to freeze any of it. Melody says, that Auntie Diane, I will post a pic of it after the live. Grew him from a pit. Okay, so what do I get those two? Oh, okay, so a tray like from a takeaway container. That's what I use, and I have it up on my window ledge or by the sink. And as the kids eat avocados, the pits, I just clean them off, and then I stick them like standing up in that takeaway container with water in it until they get roots. The other thing is, when I go in my compost bin, like outside, I know if you don't do compost, then this won't really work, but sometimes I just had too many avocados started, so I would just throw the pits into the compost. But those ones, sometimes those were the best ones. That once I went through my decomposed compost, when it was ready to sift and stuff like that, I would find the avocado pits like sprouted or with roots and in there because it's so warm and everything else, and they were happy and healthy, and I could just put them into a pot. But what I was going to say is I found this out last year. My avocados, so you guys can try this too, even if you have an avocado plant that you started. And because if you eat a lot of avocados, you can keep trying, and it's really not difficult. I mean, I have killed them in the house. They would get to a certain size and then they would die. But last year when I had my avocados, I had like a bunch in the same pot. When I had them outside, they looked so healthy and loved it. They loved it outside. I was like, so I actually have kept it alive, that same one with all of them in. It's like over in the entranceway. Yeah, I'm excited to put it back outside and see how it does, because this is the longest I've ever kept them alive, but they loved it outside last year for the summertime. So, but what I was going to say, Melody, what they say to do with avocados is once you get your first set of leaves, and then you get your second set of leaves, and then you'll cut it. Like, even if it gets bigger than that, you cut it above the second set of leaves, and that will encourage it to branch out. So, and I have tried doing both. Lots of them I just leave, because if they're alive and happy, then even if they're getting tall, then I leave them. But I have tried to cut some of them just so that they'll branch out. And again, the avocado thing is still a work in progress. But I do right now have a tray in the kitchen with pits in there from a bit of different, and some of them I don't know if they're alive still because I did let it dry out by accident. But there's about 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, maybe 15 in there. Because, like, again, it's like just a takeaway container, like that size. And it's full right now, standing up with them. So I'm waiting for those ones to sprout. Not that I need anymore, but I'm not buying the avocados for the pits to start new houseplants. But if you have the pits anyways, try them. I actually have a little lemon tree over there that I got from Steve's dad, Pierce, that he grew from a pit. So you guys can try your apple pips, your orange seeds, your lemon seeds. You can try all these things. Why not? You have them anyways. Lots of people grow their tomatoes from their tomatoes that they buy. And I think that's why I get tomatoes all over the garden, is because of the if they're soggy, or the ones that go into the compost, and then the seeds, they have so many seeds anyways. So why not try those things, right? That's when it's not like an expensive houseplant that if you kill it, it's like very sad and expensive. With all these things, you can just try. And okay, so Melody said, my plant will probably never produce fruit, but it was just cool. Okay, so that's the thing, is that mine probably won't either, even though I have a different climate here, but it looks really nice, especially when it's outside and really green and everything, and it's still doing really good. So it looks like a nice green house plant, and like I said, if you have lots of avocado pits, then why not? Then Melody said she tried that, it didn't work. Now, what happened when you cut it? Did the whole thing just die? Or did it just not branch out? Because, like I said, you get the first 2 leaves. Those aren't your true leaves yet, so you don't want to cut it above those 2 leaves. You want to wait till you get another set of leaves and cut it above that one. And you just got to try again. Like I said, you can even wait till it gets longer and just cut off the tip of it, and it'll even cutting the tip off of any plant really will encourage it to grow wider. So if you don't want something to grow tall, so even outside, if you cut off the top of something, it'll make it grow out. So Auntie Diane said she was just throwing out her pits, her avocado pits, and Auntie Diane said learning experience, and Melody said it stayed alive, just didn't branch out. Well, just keep taking care of it. If it's alive, then give it a chance. But I wouldn't worry about it. Like, if it's alive, that's step 1. So just try on another pit and keep practicing. I have in the garden. No, is it in the garden? No, what is that I did? Oh, shoot. I know what it is. It's one of my, I ended up having 2 of the same Japanese maples, and which don't grow on the prairies, unfortunately. You could try them as a houseplant maybe, but anyways, you could do this with anything. If something grows really well there, even maybe a lilac or something, like you can try doing a bonsai with it, and I have like where you like put wire around it or and then string to hold it down and change the shape of it. But I saw this, I'll post it in the comments, as I say with like so many of these lives. I saw this person doing a bonsai type style with an avocado where they're bending the branches with the avocado, and I want to try that. That's my next thing to try with the avocado. So I'll put that picture in the comments, and then you can see. So I'm going to try that. Melody says, I'm going to pinch off new growth. Okay, so you want to pinch off new growth, but remember that you don't want to pinch off too much. Like, you need it to have some leaves to still be getting fed and everything else, right? So if you've already cut that one recently, then I wouldn't take off the new growth yet. Like, give it a chance to rejuvenate its energy, or try it on a different one. Did I miss something? Oh, Melody says it's a couple years old now. That's awesome, Melody. That's really good. But yeah, so how tall is it? How many sets of leaves does it have if it's like one long stem? If it has quite a few sets of leaves, then definitely pinch off the top, and it'll either encourage it to branch out right where you pinched it, or it might even send out other shoots along the stem, which is like when these leaves come off on this one, that's what I'm hoping will happen down here, that something will encourage it to send out some more leaves down here, so it doesn't just have this long skinny, Melody says it has 3 levels of leaves. So, okay, we'll take off the top level, like you said, just pinch it off, and it should help. Okay, we are over the hour, and the only reason that I'm worried about that is because I have to pee really bad. Melody says, sorry, 7 levels. Well, that's great. Then you definitely can pinch off the top and see what happens. And like 2 years old, that's awesome too. And it's up to you if you want to try putting it outside for summer, or even just wherever your brightest light is, moving it to there for the summertime, because avocados are grown in very warm climates, long growing seasons, like California type thing. So that's what they need. Melody, or Auntie Dan says, change of topic. Oh. Change of top. I can't, just hang on. I gotta press the see more to get your whole comment, but my phone doesn't always like my fingers. Come on, stupid thing. There. Change of topic. Your hair looks great. I need a new style. I have natural curls. Wish it would stay curly like yours. Mine gets frizzy. Maybe need a better conditioner. What do you use? Okay, so mine would get frizzy too, but the obviously conditioner matters. But it's the product you put in after. So sometimes gel, sometimes mousse, and even if I am using a mousse, sometimes it stops working. Sometimes you'll use one for a while and then it just isn't doing the same thing for your hair. When my hair is wet, and actually this is yesterday's hair, so because I had a shower earlier, but I just kind of like barely let this get wet and then kind of scrunched it again because it already had mousse in from yesterday. So if my hair is wet, right out of the shower, once you dry it, like just only scrunch it with your towel to get the moisture out. And then I take mousse, and again, it depends on the brand. Sometimes if you take a bunch of mousse and you put it in, some of them are like where it works so well that your hair is crunchy because you use too much. And some of it, you can just keep putting more in, and again, it's the product. So mousse or gel, try different ones. And then just when you put it in, you just scrunch it. You don't want to like put your fingers through your curls because that'll make it fuzzy. You just want to scrunch it like this. If you need it dry quicker, you can use a diffuser on a blow dryer. That's a thing that has like sticky out things like this, and it diffuses the air through them. But even if you're doing that, you're gonna lift like this. The other thing is, if you have time, you can lie down on a pillow with your hair back like this, because what happens is your curls, the gravity will pull them down. And so if you want bouncier curls, that's why like usually, even if I was to do my hair down, I would take, again, right out of the shower, put your mousse in all over your hair. Oh, what did I do to put this in? It's not usually like this. What I do usually, hang on. Me and Steve went to the movie John Wick 4 last night at like an 11 o'clock showing, so that's why I did my hair last night. So my hair, I'm out of the shower, it's wet, I put the mousse in, I'm scrunching it all like this, and well, towel dry it like that first, and then I scrunch in the mousse, and then I take half of my hair up in a like messy like thing like this, and then I put my elastic loosely on it like that, so that this hair down here has time to dry and this isn't pushing it down. So these curls have time to dry and be like curly. And then I'll take this half down and then let it dry and go curly. So this is still damp actually probably from not yesterday, but probably from my shower today. It probably got water on it. So the other thing, the reason my hair looks nice too is because I dyed it. So I don't have my roots now, and it's lighter as well. So yeah, more scrunching. Yes, more scrunching. Drugstore. Hang on. I need to. Okay. I use again, conditioners. The same thing. One conditioner can work for a while on your hair, and then you'll find it just stops working. Right now, what's working for me is Pantene. That's it, or Pantene. They've changed the way you pronounce it now. I use Pantene Pro V, like conditioner, but you find what works for you. Drugstore brand mousse. Yeah, definitely. I just buy the cheapest mousse. If the cheapest mousse works, then use that. More scrunching. I'll try that. Angie says. Yeah, so that is what it is. I've had to teach Erica. Her hair is way curlier than mine. And it was so cute yesterday. Her hair was like, it looked like it was this short, because her curls were just that tight. So I don't know if after her shower, like I said, she lied down in her bed or whatever, but because the gravity isn't pulling the weight of your hair down, your curls just, like, her hair, it was so cute. It looked so much shorter than it was just because the curls were so tight. Thanks for all the compliments on my hair. And before we go, I just wanted to do the on death and dying, end of life stuff. So the question this week, and I don't think we've done this before, but do an inventory of any mementos in your house. Is there jewelry that, because in my jewelry, I don't even know what's worth money and what just looks nice. What's been gifts, and some of it I do, but some of it I don't. Like, I don't know which, whatever, brooches, like something that I've gotten from somebody. I just have all my necklaces together. So I don't, this is just a wooden necklace, but I don't know which ones. But if there is, like, things that are sentimental or whatever, so make a list of things. That's your, like, question this week or whatever that we're going to do for end of life is, what are the things in your house or in your jewelry or whatever that are meaningful to you? And what I eventually want to do is actually take, like, the ornaments and the things that I keep, because, lots of us have lots of things that, okay, so I love all these plants. But which ones of these plants mean anything to me? My lilies that were my grandma's mean something to me. And this one that we talked about, the purple oxalis, because my mom has it, because so it reminds me of my mom. And these actually are from my mom, the little bulbs, but like it started from there. So there is some that matter. But like basically all these plants, if I die and these plants die, that's life. But it's with the ornaments and different things in the house, how many of the things are just filling your house to make it look nice, and how many of them actually mean something to you? Is there a specific person that you want something to go to after you die? Or is there something specific that a person wants after you die? So when I was a kid, I always wanted this bracelet that my mom had, this shiny bracelet, and it was her grandma's, and I just loved it so much. It was really thick like a watch, and it had all these white like stones, and just shimmered like oily, you know, like it was so beautiful and gorgeous, and I've always wanted it. And I always, you know how kids are, they just say like, Mom, when you die, I want this. But I actually wore it for my first wedding, and I told my mom that now I'm happy I wore it for my first, well, I didn't know it was going to be my first, I thought it was going to be my only wedding, but I was happy with that. And now, as I'm older, I'm not as fussed. You know, as a kid, I always said I wanted it, but there is these ornaments that I told my mom I want. There's this little girl and this little boy, and they're fishing. They're little fisherman ones, and I just told her, even if she doesn't want them anymore, that I want them. But like I said, I'm learning to let go of material things, so I'm not as fussed. But my point was that I want to take pictures of the things that matter to me in this house, or the story behind them, or why I love them. And I want to make, like, because now it's so easy to print picture books, like photo books, that I want to do, like a nice picture of like my teddy bear, or a nice picture of this ornament, and write what it is and why it matters and everything else. But more importantly, what we're doing right now is making note of those things, so that if and when you die, people have to go through all your stuff and go through your house. They're not going to know what is just come and take it away, boys. You know, clear out the house. We don't need any of this. And what things should be passed down in the family. What are sentimental. I'll just read the comments now. Auntie Dan said, I just saw Erica. Okay. You just saw Erica, my Erica? Or Erica, Maureen and Calvin's Erica, who's about to have a baby any day? So I haven't heard about Erica, how she's doing, and if she's going to have the baby. Auntie Dan says, yes, sentimental value. Auntie Dan says, Marie, can I get a clipping of the purple shamrock? Love that plant. So yes, Mom. Melody, tell Mom that if she's not watching and doesn't know anymore, then she wants some of that plant. And Auntie Diane, I do want to buy those bigger bowls. So I don't know if you guys remember my Tupperware, my pastel color Tupperware that I bought from Auntie Diane. It was only a limited time, and now they have some that match, but they're bigger, which makes me even happier. So I need those to go with my collection. I do realize that the other stuff that I bought last time is still in Canada at my mom's house, and I haven't got it yet, but that's okay. It's bought, especially when it's a limited time. I bought it when it was there, and I'll be happy when I get it. So the other thing is I don't want to use any of my Tupperware because it's too pretty. So Auntie Anne said stamp. And thanks, Mel. And Mom is in GP at Auntie Jones. Auntie Diane, did you know that my mom is at Auntie Jones? I'm sure you probably did, because Auntie Diane lives in Grand Prairie as well, which is GP. And you saw Erica Stamp, which is the one that's going to have a baby, and unfortunately her mom is in hospice as well right now. So it's like, it's all about life situation in that family right now. One human is transitioning into life, and one is transitioning out of life, and it's a very touch and go situation there. So I'd like to know more and hear more when anyone knows more. And Auntie Dan says now at home again. Okay, so Maureen. Oh yeah, so Maureen's at home again. Yeah, because I think she was having days at home as well, and then days at hospice, and she wanted to spend as much time at home as she could because she was missing home. So, and obviously being with her daughters and her husband and stuff. So I haven't heard the latest update, but it's we can talk about it off air or whatever, because it's not my business. I mean, our family talks about it all to each other. That's how our family is, but it's not something I need to talk about here. So anyways, what you need to do this week is, do you have any objects, jewelry, even plants, whatever? What are your material things that are sentimental, meaningful, or valuable that you want to have listed, why they're sentimental, or if they're valuable, what they're worth, or whatever? You don't need to tell people that either right now. You don't need to let them know you have an old watch that was your grandpa's that is now worth 20,000 pounds or dollars. And listen, I don't have that. I don't have anything like that. Like when my one grandma McDermott died, I got like little candles that were shaped like animals. And when my grandma Malone died, I got like, what did I get when she died? I mean, she bought us gifts like for birthdays and Christmas. So I have things that I got from my grandma while she was alive, but I can't think of if I got anything when she died. But she lived with my mom and dad for most of my life, so anything that was hers, I was already in the house. So, but that's what I'm saying. Like, anyways, you don't have to tell people what your stuff is worth, but you should have it. I mean, obviously, also, if you have things that are worth money, and this has to do with insurance, not death necessarily, but in case of fire or anything, your most valuable things, have pictures of them, have what their value is, and have those off of the property. So, so you can have them in a, what do you call those lock boxes? Like a safety deposit box if you have one, or keep them with your lawyers, or in a file, or with your insurance company, or whatever. Just in case you're again, I don't have anything worth anything like that. But if you do, then you want to know what it's valued at, have pictures of it so it's easier to replace. And actually, even in case of a fire, it's important I take pictures of, as you guys know, every time I decorate for every season, I take pictures of the rooms and everything else. So, and I put them on Facebook. So if, God forbid, knock on wood, our house burnt down, I would have a pictorial inventory of our stuff, for the most part, online to prove that I had that stuff and show, what condition it was in or whatever. But if you have things of value, you want to make sure that you have photos of it and its value like outside of the property in case anything happens to it. But even, again, if you put those things down, because if and when we die, and we all will at some point, even if it's in 40 years, 50 years, or tomorrow, people are going to have to go through our shit. So they're not going to know what is just worthless crap to go to the charity shops, or what is important either to us or that will be important to our grandkids. So that is your thing for the week. And a Rolex. Yeah, Auntie Dan said a Rolex. Yeah, I don't have any Rolexes. I don't have anything like that. But yeah, so mine is more of a sentimental thing, which is fine. I'm not into, I like good quality things. I like things to last, but I don't care how much something is worth. I just want it to have that meaning, the meaning behind it. So, saying that, when we were in Italy, and I got the backpack stolen, that was over 700 and something pounds worth of stuff. Mostly because my partials were over 200 pounds. Those are my teeth that were in there. My spectacles that were in there were nearly 200 pounds. So it added up. And that was just a backpack, a rucksack getting stolen. Plus the rucksack itself was a Man City, which is Steve's football team. So it was a Man City rucksack. So that would cost money. Plus the keys for the hotel were in there. And just, everything in there. The power banks, like to charge portable chargers. Like it all adds up. And that was just, like I said, just a bag getting stolen. So... oh yeah, 2 sets of headphones. My ones that went around, but they were ear ones, and Steve's they look like beans that he puts in his ears. They were in there, so it all adds up. So it was good that we had, if we bought them on Amazon, we could show exactly what model they were and everything else. So thank you, Auntie Dan. It was my own fault. I knew there was pickpockets. I knew to be vigilant, and I was the whole time. And somehow, the one time that I wasn't paying attention, and I had sat down for a break, and I must have taken it off and had it behind me. I don't even know what happened, if they walked past and kicked it. I don't know. But it was my fault, even though I tease Steve all the time and say it was his fault. But it happened. It's, all those things can be replaced, but I was more frustrated about the place that we went for dinner one time, or lunch by the Coliseum, called, I talked about it a couple weeks ago on here. It was called Coming Out, and I loved I took some coasters from there and the placemats, and I was going to scrapbook with them, and those were in there. So I was frustrated about that being in there, but those can be replaced too. Actually, Coming Out is I follow them on Instagram now, so maybe if I send them a message and ask them to post me out some coasters and some placemats, they might do that for me. Yeah, so that is that. We've gone through a bazillion plants, and like I said, I'm not going to be jealous of those people who seem to live in a jungle, because if I group all my plants together, this is only a few that I grabbed to put around here. Like once I really think about it or add them together like this, I guess I do live in a jungle. But I'm going to keep trying, and you guys keep trying with your houseplants too. And there was a point when I was like really, really upset about all the plants I would kill, because you know, it's life and you don't want to take a life. But then, like I think I've told you guys this before, what I do is if one of my plants die inside or outside, I have a garden up in the afterlife, and I just ask my dad to take care of it. So all my plants here that sadly don't exist here anymore are thriving in the afterlife. And so I don't feel as guilty. We can't feel guilty, because with growing these, it really is trial and error, and we are going to kill a lot of them while we try. So don't feel guilty for killing them. Don't spend too much money, because you don't want to go broke over a hobby, but just keep trying. And there's so many things that the easier, simpler ones, like the, again, I don't remember exactly. It starts with a you know, these ones here. They are, yes, you saw Alina walking it through the jungle. These things become, especially this, it's like, okay, like right there, you can see it's already like dead, right? These two pieces are dead because I needed to water this. This one sits in the laundry room. But now, this, I could break this into pieces, or I could just stick this into the dirt and it becomes a new plant. So they're really easy. Like, you can make so many plants out of this and keep trying. And when they're thriving, they're thriving. But there's lots that don't have to cost a lot and you can keep trying with. So, yeah, you don't have to, and like I said, even with Melody with the poinsettia, that happens to most people. There's not very many people who can keep their poinsettias alive past Christmas. So enjoy yourselves, have a great week, and we will see you next week, and it'll be Easter themed next week. I also will be reading Easter stories for the kids again. I'll let you know on next week's Rambling Hour what day I will be doing the children's Easter stories. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for keeping up with us. And with the beginning part, with me getting pudgier and my clothes not fitting well, that's my own, what's the word? Challenge, thing. Like, I need to get on top of that. And the overeating and the working out again and everything else, it's my personal challenge, I guess. It's not something that everybody needs to do. It's just something that I am, like, I need to deal with because I'm not happy. And I was happy, and it wasn't hard to get to. It was just about consistency and doing it daily. So, yes, that's another thing that we can talk about on another week. And Auntie Dan says, have a great night. Thank you. Speaking of which, I still haven't done my exercise for today. So, yeah, 8 out of 30 minutes. So I got a ways to go for today. I love you guys. John Wick 4 was good. And I think I still enjoyed John Wick 3 more, though, to be honest. But it was still good. And we changed our clocks now, so we're, again, 7 hours ahead of you guys. And we will see you next week at the same time, same place. Maybe a different place in the house, but you know where I am. All right, love you guys. Melody says bye. Love you too. And have a great week.